Before we venture any further, it is imperative to underscore the gravely serious nature of the discussion that will follow. The ensuing narrative delves deep into a real-life event characterized by the most heinous acts of violence, where the victims were adults and young children alike. This is a cautionary foreword, advising that the material is of an extremely graphic nature and is tailored for a mature audience seeking an in-depth analysis based in fact, not fiction. Viewer discretion is advised. This sinister tale, detailing an unnerving account of familial homicide that unfolded in the seemingly tranquil surroundings of Frederick, Colorado in the summer of 2018, revolves around Chris Watts, a man who once stood as the pillar of a loving family, now infamously known for the heinous crimes that led to the heart-wrenching demise of his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their vibrant young daughters, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste. As we peel back the layers of deception, we invite you to witness the descent into a chilling narrative where familial bonds break under the strain of betrayal, financial turmoil, and shattered trust. In this ominous tale, we unearth the horrifying reality that lurked behind the facade of happy family portraits and joyful social media posts. With the stage set amidst the backdrop of a suburban home in Colorado, the lives of Shanann, an ambitious woman nurturing her career passionately, and Chris Watts, a seemingly dedicated father, come under the lens as we navigate the dark passages of the human psyche that could potentially harbor such malevolence. Together, we shall traverse a timeline stained with deceit, unraveling step by step the events leading up to that fateful August day when the fabric of a family was irrevocably torn apart. Drawing upon a vast array of verified resources, we will slowly assemble the jigsaw pieces of a deeply troubled marital life hidden behind closed doors. So, brace yourselves as we delve deep into this real-life horror story, pledging to stay true to the facts, honoring the lives lost by illuminating the dark corners of this tragic tale. Join us in this somber yet necessary journey as we attempt to understand the incomprehensible in the Chris Watts case. In the early morning hours of August 13, 2018, a pressing concern for the well-being of Shanann Watts led her close friend Nicole Atkinson to the Watts family residence, sparking the initial probe into what would soon be revealed as a tragic and horrifying event in Frederick, Colorado. The ensuing investigation drew law enforcement into a narrative of unspeakable horrors, as the untended belongings in the home silently narrated a tale of abrupt violence. Shanann's phone, her purse, and her medication still in their usual places began to paint a harrowing picture of the atrocity that took place within the family's residence. As we navigate the tragic arc of this narrative, the autopsy reports provide a deeply distressing insight into the violence perpetrated against the family. The reports reveal a staggering level of brutality that unfolded in the final moments of the victims. Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant with a baby boy to be named Nico, suffered a horrific end through manual strangulation, a process that involves a significant amount of force and yields an unimaginably painful end. This brutal act didn't just seize her breath, but also the tiny heartbeat that was nurturing within her, snuffing out a life that never had the chance to begin. Her daughters, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste, faced an equally brutal end, their lives taken through smothering. The autopsy revealed a frenzied violence perpetrated on little Bella, who fought for her life, as evidenced by the bitten tongue and frenulum, an image that paints a heartbreaking scene of a child in her final moments of desperate struggle. Meanwhile, Celeste met a tragic end without any sign of physical fight back, a testament to her tender age and the overpowering force she faced. Their lifeless bodies were then discarded with a ruthless lack of humanity, submerged in crude oil tanks separate from their mother, who was buried in a shallow grave nearby. These details, heart-wrenching and disturbing, are a testament to the harrowing degree of dehumanization, the terrifying plunge into darkness that marked the end of their lives. As we recount these tragic events, it is with a heavy heart and a deep sense of gravity that we forge ahead in this narrative, honoring the lost lives by shedding light on the tragic reality of their final moments. It is an effort to stitch together a picture from the grim details, unflinchingly exploring the depth of cruelty and violence that unfolded in a place that should have been their sanctuary of love and security. Detective Dave Baumhoover led a formidable team from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the FBI tasked with untangling the complex web surrounding Chris Watts' life. This meticulous process gradually exposed a horrifying pattern of deceit and violence, an endeavor initiated through the early warnings of Shanann's close friend, Nicole Atkinson, who acted with keen intuition. As Chris Watts projected a facade of concern through media outlets, such as Denver 7, viewers could not ignore the conspicuous absence of genuine desperation in his appeals for his family's safe return. This discrepancy didn't escape the authorities, whose vigilant eyes scrutinized Watts as he provided a series of inconsistent narratives, attempting to cast Shanann, his wife, as the perpetrator of this horrifying tragedy. This tactic of blaming Shanann reached its nadir when Watts shockingly claimed that she had murdered their innocent children, Bella and Celeste, driven by rage from their marital discord. A narrative that sought to exploit the known issues in their marriage, portraying Shanann as a tragic antagonist pushed to an unfathomable breaking point. But the persistence of the law enforcement revealed the cracks in this facade, unearthing an illicit relationship with Nicole Kessinger and unraveling the complex, chaotic scenario that Watts had painted. Every detail brought to light, including the incriminating surveillance footage from a neighbor's security system, bore testament to his damning actions on that tragic morning, veering the investigation towards dark and painful truths. Watts initially attempted to leverage media attention, casting himself as the distraught husband ignorant of his family's whereabouts. Yet, as investigators dug deeper, a grotesque betrayal emerged, showing a chilling detachment from the sacred bonds of love, family, and the sanctity of life. Cornered by mounting evidence which illuminated the troubled dynamics of his marital life and his affair, Watts found himself with no other recourse but to confess to the murders, a confession that exposed a terrifying depth of cruelty and deception. This heartbreaking admission unveiled the true perpetrator behind the horrific act, laying bare his vicious attempt to assassinate Shanann's character to shield himself from blame. As we dissect this tragic story, we find ourselves facing the stark reality of a man not just guilty of a horrific act, but of attempting to create a reality where he emerged as the victim. This narrative takes viewers on a harrowing journey through the depths of human deceit and cruelty at its most extreme, revealing a man willing to tarnish the memory of his wife to escape the repercussions of his monstrous actions. The arrest of Chris Watts was the culmination of an intense, short-lived investigation that spanned only a couple of days following the missing report lodged on August 13, 2018, for Shanann Watts and her daughters Bella and Celeste. On August 15, just 2 days after the disappearance was reported, Chris Watts found himself at the center of Frederick Police Department's investigation. Initially, Watts volunteered for a polygraph test in the absence of a lawyer, a test he failed, adding another layer to the complexity of the case and casting himself in a highly suspicious light. It wasn't until after a long series of interrogations, where he was confronted with mounting evidence, that Watts requested to speak with his father. This conversation marked a significant turning point in the investigation as Watts, seemingly breaking down, confessed to the murder of Shanann, while horrendously accusing her of killing their children, a grim narrative he would later recant. By August 20, formal charges were mounted against him. Watts faced a host of grave charges, including first-degree murder, with extra counts given the tender ages of Bella and Celeste, unlawful termination of Shanann's pregnancy, and tampering with deceased human bodies. This charge sheet came before him as he stood without bail, a decision affirmed at his first court appearance on August 16, overseen by Judge Marcelo Kopkow of the 19th Judicial District. Defense attorneys John Walsh and Catherine Harold from the Colorado Public Defender's Office had the daunting task of representing Watts as the case proceeded amidst a media frenzy. In a bid to avoid the death penalty, a plea agreement was reached with the approval of Shanann's family to spare them the anguish of a protracted trial. November 6 witnessed Watts pleading guilty to all the counts leveled against him. An irreversible agreement, this plea carried a substantial weight: 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, eliminating any prospects of an appeal as per the conditions of the plea. Though the legal procedures surrounding the case saw an end, it remains to be seen what the future holds regarding Watts' personal reflections and actions in prison, given that this agreement doesn't completely extinguish the potential for filing post-conviction relief motions based on different grounds, albeit such avenues are pursued rarely and bear slim chances of success. As far as I can find, I don't think Watts has any intention to appeal or challenge his plea agreement. Nonetheless, for the most recent updates, it would be prudent to consult the latest resources available to you. In the quest to understand the monstrous act perpetrated by Chris Watts, we find ourselves traversing the intricate maze of human psyche and behavior, venturing into dark alleys of external influences that may have carved out a person capable of such cruelty. While some elements of what might drive us over the edge into the mouth of madness might be rooted deep in our DNA shaping our intrinsic nature, there exists a myriad of external factors continually molding and reshaping the human mind: social pressures, mental health issues, the potential misuse of substances, including drugs and medications, and the unyielding force of societal expectations. Yet, these factors can never be seen as excuses, but perhaps serve as grim reminders of the complexities involved in the horrifying mutation of human conscience to a point where it can harbor such darkness. And here we stand, faced with an act so grotesque that it defies all realms of understanding and compassion, shattering any illusions of remorse with a reality where no apology could ever suffice. It forces us to confront a daunting question that echoes in the unsettling aftermath of such tragedies. What does this say about our society? A society where the fabric of trust is constantly being torn apart, weaving a tapestry of doubt and fear that has us questioning the true extent of freedom. Should it be a right or a privilege? And where do we draw the line? In the grim shadow of this tragedy, we are reminded to be ever vigilant, to hold dear and protect the bonds of family and community. For in the end, the unsettling truth that echoes back is a piercing, unyielding question: who can we really trust? In the face of such a reality, it becomes incumbent upon us all to foster a society that is not just free, but also safe, nurturing, and deeply connected to the values that respect and uphold the sanctity of life. A society where individuals are not just bystanders, but active participants in safeguarding each other from the monstrous depths of human depravity. As we reflect upon this harrowing journey into the abyss of human cruelty, let us carry forward not just the weight of this tragedy, but also a firm resolution to advocate for a world guided by compassion, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to protect the innocent. It is our sincere hope that as we navigate these deep and murky waters, we do so with a spirit of community, understanding, and a shared commitment to fostering a world where such tragedies are a thing of the past. I encourage you to share your thoughts, reflections, and insights in the comments below as we continue this important dialogue, seeking paths towards understanding, healing, and prevention. Thank you for joining us in this deeply important examination. Please remember to be respectful and considerate in your comments as we discuss this tragic event, keeping in mind the real lives and devastating loss experienced by the family and friends of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Crime Fighting Sleuth Slayers as we continue to explore the complex landscapes of the human condition, striving always to shed light in the darkest corners of existence. Stay safe and take care of each other. Until next time.